Welcome, everyone. My name is Karen. I'm your host, and this is Blooming Desert, a space where those who are walking in his desert and we still choose to love, trust, and obey Jesus. This is a place where we'll talk about what faith really looks like, what it looks like to grow when life is uncertain, to bloom when conditions aren't ideal, to cling on to hope, even when the valley feels long, where seasons feel barren, the ground beneath us feels dry. Well, Happy New Year, everyone. I'm sure by now a lot of us, if not the majority of us, have reflected on our previous year and we've looked back where we were, the things that we left unfinished, the goals that we didn't get to accomplish, and we remain hopeful that this year we'll get to accomplish all of the above. Every January, we make resolutions. We promise change not just for ourselves, but to our loved ones, to our friends, and we begin to build vision boards and we set goals and expectations. And then life resumes. Work, school, parenting, responsibilities, and all of the above somehow begin to take over our life. The routine creeps in one more time, and the visions begin to fade, only to reach another year with unfulfilled goals. I wish there was a secret method that we could all know where we could find ways and we could set our mind to that and do everything on that list so that we could accomplish those goals and those resolutions. A lot of times we often hear the response that it's because of lack of discipline or organizational skills. But what if it goes far more than that? As believers, we're called to obey Jesus. What if the problem is not just discipline or organization, but rather that we're planning without God? So, for my first step, I want to talk about resolution versus calling. Are we creating resolutions that are aligned with our calling? Do we even know what our calling is? Because we should have knowledge of what our calling is. And if you don't know yet what your calling is, then I invite you that 2026 will be the year where you'll not just know your calling, but you'll walk into your calling, into that promised land that God has for you. Not that you just go up the mountaintop and you can see it from afar and never walk into it, but actually walk through it and into it and all of the above. So, are we living our life, creating expectations, creating goals, setting all these vision boards that do not align with our calling? Or are we really asking God to be the center of those plans? Are they even aligned to what He has for us? Does it even align to the word? Does it even align to the promises that He has for us? Or are we just going by what the rest of the world is doing and we're creating these goals, these resolutions that look just like our neighbors who don't serve God? I want you to understand something. I don't want you to misunderstand what I'm trying to say. We're not anti goals, we are pro alignment. Our life was to be fulfilled according to the way that God called it from the very beginning. The way He wrote it in the book of the life, that is how we should be living. Not our ways, not the world's ways, but God's way. And here comes second point. Plan versus surrender. Are we setting our plans and surrendering to the Lord? Are we seeking for His guidance? Are we praying about them? Or are they just vision boards up on the wall that become our idols because it's what we want? We we want to find ways to make that happen. And God is just looking at us as if none of this is what I called you to do. None of those plans that you have aligned with mine. So, are we surrendering each one of our plans to the Lord, asking Him that His will be done? I want to invite you, 2026, that your obedience is far more than what the world says you should be doing. Because The world says a lot. There's statistics out there that talk about by what age we should be married, by what age we should complete our career, have our children, own our first home, and all of the above. And yet, those are not wrong ambitions. Again, I don't want you to misinterpret what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that our obedience to the will of the Lord should be far more important than what the world is telling us how we should live our life. Are we being activated or are we just being inspired by the world? And here comes my third point: faith plus action. The Bible says that faith without action is dead works. So the Bible does tell us that not only we should have faith, but we should be moving towards that goal. You can be tired and you can still be called. You can be in a routine and still be obedient. You can be in a desert and you can still be growing. And this year, I challenge you that just as the Bible says, to commit your ways unto the Lord, and He will establish your steps. Present your goals, present what you have, your desires to God, and most importantly, ask Him, do they align to your will? Do they align to what you have for me, Father? Am I even walking into my calling, into my purpose? Am I getting one step closer to that? Or am I straying away because I'm constantly wanting to fit in with this world? Today, I want to remind you that the valley of shadow of death, we will fear no evil because God is with us. He is for us and He is faithful in every season. Unfortunately, just because we turn the page to the next year doesn't mean we get to start from ground zero. Sometimes we face the same desert that we were in the previous year. We can't change that. There's nothing that can get rid of that. But I want to encourage you today. Just because you started your today just like you were yesterday doesn't mean your tomorrow has to be where you are today. I encourage you that in 2026, you choose to move forward. You choose to activate your faith, not only talk about it, but actually live it and move with it. I encourage you that in this season, you ask God to be the center of your year, that He not only be the center, but that His will be done in your year, in this year, in 2026. I pray that you will grow in 2026 like you didn't grow the previous year. As we step into this new year, maybe the question isn't, what can I do to accomplish certain things? Maybe the better question is, who is God calling me to be? Because routines will return, life will keep lifing, as a lot of people say. The desert doesn't disappear just because the calendar changes. But God doesn't wait for the perfect conditions to move. He meets us right here where we're at. In the dusty storms, He will meet us. And even here, even now, He is forming something new. I want you to know that you may be in a desert, but God still grows beautiful things right here. This year doesn't have to be about striving harder or proving to others. It can be about alignment, about obedience, about your calling, about walking one step at a time, moving forward with God at the center. Let Him be the core of your life, the very center of who you are, of your life. Because when we commit our ways to Him, He establishes our steps. Even if the path leads through the valley, we walk without fear, knowing that God is with us and God is for us. So, walk with me this journey because I too am growing alongside with you. I too am facing a desert that didn't end in 2025, but I am hopeful and I am moving forward and I still choose to trust Jesus. And if you And if you, alongside with me, want to continue walking this journey and trusting God, give your comments, give your feedback. I'll be reading through each one of those. Every week, I'll be posting what a desert looks like, where we are, how we're moving forward. Because at the end of the year, 2026, I want us to look back and say, we are not where we were yesterday. Until next week, I will see you. Goodbye.